Hello everybody, dear students of intermediate class, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our online class. Most probably we are talking about right form verbs, and we will continue our discussion on the base form or the present form of main verbs. Dear students, you know that each and every verb has three forms, that is the present form or the base form, the past form and the past participle form. For example, play the base form, played the past form, and played the past participle form. In the same way, teach the present form, taught the past form, and taught the past participle form. In the same way, seek, sought, make, made, made. So we can understand that each and every main verb has three forms, and we will talk about the base form or the use of present form of verbs today. There are many cases where we have to use the base form or the main form, the base form or the present form of main verbs. Let's start. Where should we use the present form or the base form or the first form of main verbs? I have written some sentences, some examples here. We can count how many sentences, how many examples I have given here. 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have written 12 sentences on the board, and I have given title for each of the group here. Here I have made 3 groups of sentences, that is, and each group contains 4 sentences, and this is present indefinite. Under this heading I have written 4 sentences, that is, I find you, I don't find you, do I find you, don't I find you. I have written these 4 sentences here under the heading present indefinite tense. And then here we also get 4 sentences under the heading past indefinite, that is, I found you, I did not find you, did I find you, didn't I find you. 4 sentences or 4 structures or 4 examples we get here. And then finally in the last row the title is future indefinite, and here we also get 4 examples or 4 sentences, that is, I shall find you, I shan't find you, shall I find you, shan't I find you. Dear students, I believe that you have already understood, and you know that indefinite tenses, there are total 3 types of indefinite tenses in English grammar, that is present indefinite, past indefinite, and future indefinite. So we get total 3 types of indefinite tenses in English grammar. In present indefinite tense we get 4 sentences, in past indefinite tense we get 4 sentences, and again in future indefinite tense we get 4 other sentences or structures. So under the heading indefinite tenses we get 12 structures, and I have used the main verb find in each case. Find, here again find, here find. This is the main verb here, and each of the sentences I have used this verb irrespective of tenses, that is, and again here found, here find, here find. So what happens? We can say that in all types of indefinite tenses we can use the base form of main verbs. Only one exception. So what may be the rule? In all types of indefinite tenses, irrespective of present, past or future, in all types of indefinite tenses we are to use the base form or the present form of main verbs. Only one exception, and that is in the case of past indefinite tense, the first sentence, that is the affirmative sentence. Only in the case of affirmative sentence in past indefinite tense, we are to use the past form of main verbs, and in all the other cases in indefinite tenses, we are to use the base form of main verbs. I found here is the exception, the only exception. So, present indefinite tense, in each of the cases we are getting 4 sentences or 4 structures. This is present indefinite tense, of course, but this is affirmative sentence. So, in present indefinite tense, in affirmative sentence, we are to use the base form of main verbs, that is find. That is why I have used find. And then in negative sentence, I have also used find. And then in interrogative sentence, I have also used find, that is the base form. And in negative interrogative sentence, I have also used the base form. So, in each of the indefinite tense, we are getting 4 types of sentences, that is affirmative sentence, negative sentence, interrogative sentence, and negative interrogative sentence. It is true also here, affirmative, negative, interrogative, negative interrogative. It is also true here, affirmative, negative, interrogative, and negative interrogative sentences. So, in all the cases, irrespective of the types of sentences, we use the base form in the case of indefinite tenses. Only one exception, that is in the affirmative sentence of past indefinite tense. So, we are getting here 11 structures, as many as 11 structures, where we are to use the base form of main verbs. We can just easily remember in this way that what type of auxiliary verbs we have used here. Don't, we are getting do here. Then here is also do, and here also do, and again did, do, does. We can also use does when the subject is third person singular number. So you can remember in this way that whenever you find the use of do verbs, which is known as dummy auxiliaries. You know, dummy auxiliaries. Where should I write? Dummy auxiliaries. D-U-M-M-Y. Auxiliaries. Dummy auxiliaries means do, does, did. These are called dummy auxiliaries. Dummy means fake, as they are not, basically they are not auxiliaries, but they are main verbs. But in absence of other auxiliaries, we have to use these auxiliaries, and that is why they are called dummy auxiliaries. So, if you find any dummy, any of these 3 dummy auxiliaries, if you get any of these dummy auxiliaries in any sentence, then you are to use the base form of main verbs. You can remember this in this way also. This is the very easy way. So, all these sentences we have used the dummy auxiliaries do, and that is why we have used the base form of main verbs find, as here are the dummy auxiliaries. In the same case, did, dummy auxiliaries, and that is why we have used the base form of main verbs. And what happens here? Shall is modal auxiliaries. In our previous 2 classes, we have learned about the use of modal auxiliaries, and there we learned that modal auxiliaries always take the base form of main verbs. So, here also that rule is also applicable here, that is shall or shan't or shall, or this is the contracted form, but here is also shall, shan't or shan't. This is the contracted form of shall not or will not. So, after modal auxiliary, that is modal auxiliaries always take the base form of main verbs. So, there is only one exception, that is the in affirmative sentence of past indefinite tense, we are to use the first form of main verbs, and in all the other cases in indefinite tenses, we are to use the base form of main verbs. This is one rule for using the base form of modal of main verbs. And now let's pass to another important rule where we are to use the base form of main verbs. Now I am writing some words and phrases. Notice, have to, or has to, or had to, used to, be plus going to, be plus going to, let, make, had better or best, can oblique, could not, but, is a phrase, then did plus nothing but, did plus nothing but, this is again a phrase, then would rather, then am oblique is oblique are oblique was oblique were plus to, then infinitive to, infinitive to, plus base or present form of main verbs. What happens here? This is a very interesting rule, dear students. Many rules here. Here lies many rules. If you can understand all these things, all these words and phrases, I believe that you will be able to use the base form correctly. So try to understand. After all these words and phrases, we are to use the base form of main verbs. Have to, has to, had to. If you use the main verb after have to, has to, had to, then you must use the base form. And then used to, be plus going to, let, make, had better or best, can or could not but, did nothing but, did plus nothing but, would rather, am, is, are, was, were plus to, infinitive to, etc. Then base form or present form of main verbs. That is, after all these words and phrases, we are to use the base form or the present form of main verbs. So you should memorize all these words and phrases. This is the simple rule. You should keep in mind all these words and phrases and just practice. Just remember that after all these words and phrases, we are to use the base form or the present form of main verbs. Let me explain through examples. I will not use all these words and phrases in sentences, but I am choosing some of the words and phrases from here, and I am using them in sentences just to present some examples to you to clarify my discussion. So let me write some sentences. You, for example, you had better stay, parenthesis, you had better stay with us tonight. This is one example. Example number 1, you had better stay with us tonight. Here is a had better. That is, where is the had better? I have taken this had better here. We are getting the had better. Now, what form of this main verb stay should we use? This is the question. We are coming back here to use the right form of verbs. Then, example number 2, we could not but protest, raise our voice against some bad thing. We could not but protest, could not but. We have collected this could not but, this is the could not but. And then example number 3, Rupa was to help her mother in the domestic works. Rupa was to. This is was plus to. So, what should be the correct form of help? This is the question. Then, example number 4. Professor Browning used to study burning midnight oil. Professor Browning used to study burning midnight oil. And then the last example, though no space here, still I have no alternative. So, let me write down here at the bottom of the board, at the minor bride did nothing but sob all the time. Most probably I did not write did plus, no, this is did plus nothing but, did plus nothing but. I have collected this did nothing but from this did nothing but, and this is the verb. So, I have given 5 examples here, and let me explain now. In first example, as we have already mentioned that after all these words and phrases, we have to use the base form or the present form of main verbs, and we are trying to explain this rule in these examples, and we have put some main verbs here within brackets, and now we will have to use the correct form of these verbs within brackets. So, in first example, you had better stay with us tonight. This is had better, and after had better we have to use the base form of main verbs, that is it is correct, stay, the base form. The first form of stay, as you know, is stayed, stay, stayed, stayed. If you use stayed, that is you had better stayed with us tonight, it is wrong, because after had better we have to use the base form of main verbs. So this is correct, that is you have used stay here. And then we could not but protest. We could not but protest. After could not but, after this phrase we are to use the base form, that is protest. Protest means to raise voice against some bad thing which you don't like. The base form protest. If you use we could not but protested, it is wrong, because after could not or cannot but we have to use the base form of main verbs, and when we use protest, this is correct, the base form. And then Rupa, example number 3. Rupa was to help her mother in the domestic works. Rupa was to. This is was to, as we have already mentioned, am, is, are, was, were plus to plus base form of main verbs. So Rupa was to help. Help is correct, the base form. Rupa was to help her mother in the domestic works. If you use here the other form, that is if you even the present participle, if you use Rupa was to helping, this is wrong. If you use Rupa was to helped, then this is wrong. But after was to, am to, are to, is to, you are to use the base form or the present form of main verbs. So Rupa was to help her mother in domestic works, this is correct. And then Professor Browning used to, example number 4. Professor Browning used to study burning midnight oil. Professor Browning used to, here used to, I have collected this used to from, this is this used to. So after used to we have to use the base form or the present form of main verbs. So used to study, study is the correct verb. We should use study here because the base form of study is study. But if you use Professor Browning used to studying, the present participle form, or Professor Browning used to studied, the first form of study, this is wrong, because after used to we have to use the base form. So Professor Browning used to study burning midnight oil. This is a phrase. Dear students, do you know the meaning of the phrase? I used this phrase in my one of my previous classes as far as I can remember. Anyway, burning midnight oil means to stay awake at night, sleepless night. He studied, Mr. Browning is a studious person, Professor Browning, and he studied burning midnight oil means late at night, that is he stayed awake for his study. Okay, then the minor bride did nothing but this nothing but is collected from, this is the did plus nothing but sub, this is the main verb, and we should use the base form of main verbs here, because did plus nothing but plus the base form of the present form of main verbs. So we have to use the base form sub. Sub is the present form of sub, and the first form is subbed, S-O-B-B-E-D. So if you use the minor bride did nothing but sobbed or sobbing all the time, this will be wrong. You have to use the base form. So sob means weep, and the minor bride, minor means immature, underage, and bride means the newly married lady. So the minor bride did nothing but sob, ফুফিয়ে কান্না করা, weep. So what's our concern here? Our concern here is not the meaning, but how to use the base form or the present form of main verbs. This is our concern here. Anyway, we should also try to know the meaning of this type of sentences so that we can practice them in our daily communications. Otherwise, the main purpose will not be fulfilled, because the target of the practice of grammar or grammatical rules is to help you to produce correct sentences so that you can communicate correctly in your practical lives. Ladies and gentlemen, dear students, let's stop here for the day. Thank you very much for joining me live.